Hello, fabulous beings. I'm excited to share with you another QHHT session. For this one, I have the actual audio that I'm going to share with you, but first I'll provide a recap so you can watch the recap and or you can listen to the actual session audio afterwards. So I imagine this recap will take me maybe 20-ish minutes because this person I feel is like the every person. She had a lot of things come up in her session in her life that I feel it would relate to a lot of all you and me, everybody. So I'm very happy to share that with so much love and gratitude to this individual for allowing me to share her session audio so that we can all garner our own version of healing from listening to it. So this person came to me on late June 2024. Their session lasted about 7 hours with me. She wanted to, I've got my notes here, so you're going to see me kind of darting back and forth. So she wanted to know why she was so attached to her ex, who's now living a life of turmoil. He's also the father of her children. She felt lonely and sad, wanted to know how to lead her most authentic life. She also suffered from some substance abuse and eating disorder. And she wanted to know what to do with her work life, know her life purpose, and wanted to touch base with her deceased grandmother. So these are things she kind of came in mind with reasons for coming to the session. And so when we get into it, she visits a life where she's in the backyard. She's playing around and her sister's there and her sister asks for a hug. And she's just so in love with her sister, really enjoys the embrace and reliving that moment with her sister. Says she misses her sister, and then everything went black. And then all of a sudden she sees her new house in the backyard. No one was there, but she was aware that she was floating up above the scene and she was able to see everyone living their life. And she asked, should I go in the house? And I asked, do you want to? And she decided no, she didn't want to go in there. And from there, the scene just changed again, all on its own. And she was watching TV, and her dad was out on the deck, but she was also aware that she was floating. She was kind of like watching herself, watching the scene unfold. Then again, the scene switched out, and she was at the cottage, and her grandmother was sitting with her, and she loves her grandmother so much. All her other cousins were playing, but she spent a lot of time with her grandmother at the cottage there. And then after that point, I moved her to an important day. And she went back to a memory of this current life where she got a new swing set from her grandpa and they were building it in the yard. The whole family was visiting. Dad was making hamburgers and she went to go rollerblading with her sister. And they went to the convenience store for probably like a slushie or something. I can't remember now. And she loved the feeling of going really fast on her rollerblades, just the freeing, the liberation. It was a really amazing experience for her to have looking back on that. And she said she felt so free when she went fast because she went fast to get away from everything. And it helped her to get away when she wanted to be left alone. And she was getting away from her brain nagging her about what she needed to do and how to be. And she also rode her bike really fast to do this. So as an adult, it's nice for her to look back at her childhood self, realizing that's why she did those things. She was rediscovering that feeling, how that felt in her body and in her mind and emotions, and why she was doing that when she was younger. And she said her higher self said she was sad for her. So her higher self just all of a sudden comes in. I'm like, okay, awesome. Higher self starts saying it's really sad for her. It's crying, loves her so much, calls her, oh, my girl. I love my girl so much. This, she's my girl. And the higher self said didn't know why she was so sad. And then the higher self said, well, she's alone and needs that loneliness to go away. And the higher self said she's quiet and people don't really notice her and she's loved, but those in her life just can't properly show her how she's loved. And they're not healthy people. And the higher self assured her that it's them that's hurt and it's nothing wrong with her. And the higher self said sorry that she had to go through that experience. Unfortunately, they are human. And again, it was really apologetic that she had those experiences. All right. So then the higher self said she's getting lots of snuggles during the session. And then over time, she's going to heal and soften and allow herself to be held. And it's going to protect her and hold her and give her everything she needs. So the higher self is always there waiting for you. You don't have to have a QHHT session to touch base with your higher self. This is just a more direct line. But your higher self always has your highest good in mind, loves you unconditionally. And every higher self is different that comes through. Sometimes they're a little more esoteric or galactic and seem a little more distant from the human experience. So they still have lots of knowledge and wisdom and healing and know what's best from the client. But this one just felt more emotional based and personable. And it felt like I was talking to an old friend, essentially. It was just really nice to see like the unconditional love coming forward for the client. I asked if a body scan would be appropriate, and the higher self said yes, absolutely. And then all of a sudden asked for help. I said, okay, how can we help? And then all of a sudden the higher self switched out. We were in a scene and she was there with her ex, and she wasn't sure what she was doing there. And she said she hated all these people, and then so I'm like, okay, what happened, And she just said they all hurt her whole heart. All these people had hurt her. And that this man, the ex, was sick now, and he's gone. His heart's gone, been gone his whole life because of things that happened to him when he was younger. And he doesn't want to live this life of turmoil, but at the end of the day, it's his choosing. Only he can save himself. She can't save him, essentially. And then she realized that it was just, she wasn't letting him go, and she needed to so that she could move on in her life and be healthy, because it was affecting her physical body. She was actually feeling in her heart, like her physical heart, she was having issues. And then we were told there's black, bad, scary energy around him, and he just doesn't care. He's fine with it. And unfortunately, and it's hard for all of us to watch someone else walk a path that we know is not a good path to walk. But sometimes the soul chooses that path, and sometimes the soul gets stuck in that path. And it's hard for us to know exactly why or what's going on in that particular circumstance. And we can't force them to change anything. We can only shine our own light, and they can decide to look that way or not. So she was grappling with that because she had kids with this person. Okay. Then she described her future life, what the beautiful new family dynamic will be like, how much fun she's going to have, the healing that's going to happen, the new man that's going to enter her life. She said she's going to set up boundaries and say no louder because she has a good life to live. And she needs to write out what she needs to do with people and the boundaries she needs to set. So it's in physical form. It's not just up here in her mind. All right. She said she needs to stop guilting herself for trying to fill in for two parents when she's only one parent. She needs to set boundaries with her kids to have a happier and healthier family dynamic and be authentically who she is. She's trying to be something she's not. She's not two people. She's one person. And she said her work's not going to change at all. She needs to look elsewhere. She's done everything that she can there. She can't force others to see what she sees or be accountable to that. So same with the ex, right? Trying to control the outcome of the situation or what people are doing. You can't control others. All you can do is control yourself and how you shine your light. And that's a tricky, tricky lesson for a lot of us. So her higher self said, she doesn't know why she stayed that long at that job, but she can work anywhere, and the shackles are breaking with her unplugging from others and carrying their burdens. So she's no longer going to be carrying the burden of other people, again, trying to control the situation from their perspective. She can only control what she can do and what she can think and how she can feel. So then she'll also release the guilt associated with feeling like a bad mom. I mean, I can relate to that. I think all us moms had those moments where we think, oh, what am I doing? I'm not a good parent. She was ready to release some things. Maybe she did when the kids were younger, she wasn't very proud of. She's a different version of herself now. And sorry, my hair's in my mouth. She's ready to forgive herself for that. All right, so forgiving herself. And every time she says no or sets a boundary, her light shines brighter. I love that. And I feel like that's advice for everybody. Every time you say no or set a boundary, your light shines brighter. You're not shutting somebody else down. What you're doing is allowing your light to shine brighter instead of just dimming it because someone wants you to. I think, it's kind of silly when you put it like that. It just seems so silly. We get caught up in this 3D world sometimes, and it happens. So then I was kind of half talking to her and her higher self at that point, I believe. It'll be in the audio. It's been a while since I've actually listened to the audio. But then the higher self, I brought it right back in fully. And just it felt like natural in the conversation. And it said she was shown parts of her current life because she needs to heal from all the stuff that she's picked up and carried in this life. It wasn't necessary for her to visit a past life or a future life or a concurrent life because she needed to heal the the traumas from this particular life first before she got into the other stuff. So she wasn't intended to carry those things for an eternity. So she needed to make sure she healed those first before she exits this life. All right. So then it says she needs to say no so she can shine her light even brighter. Um, and what else do we have here? It just, again, it reiterated that her ex is destined for some not so good things. He's only going to dim her light. And he actually wasn't part of her life path. But we have free will in this realm, and we can do whatever we like. And so she went off and she was adamant to be with this man and to have children with him. And that's okay. We're allowed to do whatever we want in this life, and we will always learn lessons from it. And our higher self will always steer us back onto course with unconditional love and with guidance and direction. So that's what she was provided validation in that through this session. All right. So the higher self said she's so beautiful, and it's just sorry a bad character crossed paths with her. And she only has a few more steps in forgiving him and letting go fully. And she's only looking back at this relationship because she's feeling lonely. And it explained how that viewpoint's actually distorted because she's lonely in her body because she's been helping others instead of herself. And that's a big one for all of us there again, where when you're looking externally from yourself to receive something, why isn't the world giving me what I want? Why aren't people doing this, that, the other thing for me? Why is this always happening to me? I think we all get caught up in that narrative. It's because you are depriving yourself of that thing and you're looking for it external from yourself, right? The reason you're not looking for other things is because you give that to yourself. You have that already. And once you give it to yourself, then other people give it to you willingly, or it shows up. You notice it everywhere. It's like, when you drive a car, all of a sudden everyone else is driving the car. You see other people driving that car and you didn't notice it before. Similar kind of metaphor. Okay, lost where I was. Right. So it said she needs more one-on-one time so she feels more at ease with herself and less lonely. And the higher self addressed her fear of authentically showing up as herself. She's afraid to fully be who she was. And the higher self's going, no. Like, you're here to be you, right? You're here in this incarnation with this body to have this persona. You chose this, and why are you covering that up? That's just silly. You came here to have the experience through this physical form. The higher self also said her session was timed for this very moment that it occurred because it would be integral to push her to correct the balance in her life. Other portions of her life were lining up to also provide that same support. So everything was kind of dovetailing really nicely with this session, just kind of being like the cherry on top to help her further on her life path journey. The SC, or subconscious higher self, expressed gratitude for the space that was held for Chantel so that she felt safe to express herself and heal. I thank the higher self for bringing her in. And then we addressed a couple other things. Her substance abuse and eating disorder helped numb parts of her that were broken due to childhood pressures, and it was feeding the ego in a lower part of herself. And it said these can be reconciled by getting to know herself, spending time with herself, and having fun and loving herself. Feeding her higher self instead of the ego. We can all stand to do that. Everyone should be doing this. There you go. That's free. If I asked if the higher self would like to tell the ego anything to help bridge the gap, because what's happening is the ego is kind of driving all the time and it's really loud and noisy. So the higher self isn't really heard, but the ego has so much to learn from the higher self. So when we build the bridge, they're both able to work together. I see that as bridging the higher self and the ego. I see that as the yin and the yang. I see that as the left and the right hemispheres of the brain, but they're enmeshing now, right? So they're working together as a natural circuitry so that you can have more clarity in your life, make better informed decisions, and feel more at peace and feel whole in yourself, right? By having the ego drive all the time and the higher self kind of out of the picture completely or way back in the back seat, you're not giving credence to all parts of yourself. All parts of you are integral, including the ego. So we're not telling the ego to shut the fuck up, because like anything, if someone tells me to shut the fuck up, in my mind, I cross my arms, I dig my heels in, I'm like, fuck you. And that's what the ego is going to do. So instead, we want to bring the ego in with the conversation with the higher self and bridge the gap and bring both parties to the table. Okay. So the ego, the higher self said the ego has helped her to show up so far in her life, but now it's not serving her in the same way. She's going to need to turn off that survival switch once in a while and not use it as a scapegoat so she can further love herself. Right now, her heart is dying and the ego needs to take a break more often to allow the healing. So then we discussed the potential physical manifestation of things in her heart. And the higher self said her heart is reflecting her current situation and to hold tight because it is changing. And so the higher self painted a beautiful picture of what her heart will look like. And it was so excited for her and said there was no need for any physical healing of the heart. So in this particular circumstance, not always, but for her, the physical manifestations of discomfort or dis-ease in the body was from her current situation. So she can go see doctors all she wanted. It was just going to keep happening. So until she fixed her situation, then the body would correct itself. So this is a really good example of what happens in a lot of sessions where the higher self will come through, give all the answers, let the client know exactly what's going on and why, and we'll do some healing sometimes or a full healing depending on what needs to happen. But a lot of times the higher self is going to ask the client to meet them halfway, saying, hey, here's all the information. This is what you need to do. If you're serious and want this to go away, do XYZ for yourself. And it's resolved. It's healed. It's gone. So it was for this person, it wasn't from a past life or anything else that happened. It was something that they could do. And the higher self gave them something tangible to work from so that they actually had control and power over their own healing. So I think that's really important to note. So the higher self also recommended that she see a gynecologist because it looked like she had something going on physically, but it was actually energetically due to some sexual trauma. But the higher self felt that it wasn't appropriate to address it at that time because the client had done a lot of healing in that session. And bringing up that trauma was only going to be to her detriment at that point in time. And it also forced the client to take time for herself, make an appointment, and show that commitment and time and energy for herself. So I thought that was a really neat but sneaky way for the higher self to, again, hold the client accountable. Sometimes the higher self will do a full, complete healing or offer insights into that kind of stuff. Other times they want the client to be accountable in this physical realm to themselves and show that commitment, and will give the different avenues. So Western medicine isn't always all bad. Again, we're bridging this gap, right? There's good parts of things. We're taking all the good and we're enmeshing them together. So that's what's happening here. So don't get stuck on one train or the other. Make sure you're taking all different parts of all different thought trains and building your own nice little train that is all the good parts, I guess. That's a weird metaphor, but there you go. Okay, the mental health issues that were happening in her family. So she had noticed that there was things in her family mentally. The higher self could not explain it, and it said it because it was blocked. And it asked if I could assist it. And I explained to the higher self that my client was probably hiding something from herself, and that I always trust the higher self for any higher vibrations for the client's, will have the client's greater good in mind. And it would be determined if it's appropriate to remove that block or not. The higher self said it could not access it through my client. So we discussed the physical symptoms exhibited by the mental health issues. So by doing that, what we're doing is instead of taking a big chunk of something, we're breaking it down into its component, all the different symptoms, and tracing each symptom back, saying where does the symptom come from? Where does it originate from? Right? We're getting all the information through a back channel, essentially. So there's many different ways to access the information. So that's how I intuitively felt that maybe we could do that for the client during that session. So then the higher self addressed those, broke those down, which you'll hear on the audio. And then she had extreme mood swings as well that were actually her trying to control situations. So whenever there was the chance of her being seen authentically as who she is, she would have these mood swings and get super angry. And she didn't know why this was happening, but the higher self brought conscious awareness to it as to why she was doing that, and that she needed to love who she is and be authentically her, and not try to control the situation through these mood swings that she didn't know she was doing on purpose. Well, she was, but, not consciously on purpose. And then her worth was tied to this facade she had made up, this version of her that wasn't real. Okay. And the higher self said it fed her depression and that she was feeding both wolves and exhausting herself. So the anger and depression were the two wolves that she was feeding. And everything that was discussed earlier in the session would help her resolve that. The higher self also explained that the ego wanted her ex to choose her, and that's part of why she felt so attached to him. But as was discussed earlier, he's not really a good influence on her in her life. The higher self said she needs to choose herself and love herself. So there again, she's looking for something from someone else because she's not giving it to herself. And so the higher self's going, no, like I choose you. You need to choose yourself too. And then it says, I asked the higher self to shower her with love, and it proceeded to do so and gave her paramount validation, positive reinforcement of her new path and how amazing she is. So wonderful to sit in that energy. And another one of her questions was what was next in her life and what was coming. And the higher self said it was so frustrating that it couldn't give me what it sees so I could give it to her. So it did its best to describe her beautiful life that's ahead of her. So she had an idea of what was coming down the pipe. Because at that point in time, it didn't look like that at all. So it was really frustrating for the higher self. It was kind of like, I can describe it, but like, you're not going to believe me, but here it is. But it's going to happen. So her purpose that we found out in this life is to laugh and spread her light with all the people in her life. And she's going to live this out as she loves herself. She has an impact on people, which then affects others through that one interaction. This is very important because I think a lot of us get caught up on what's my purpose? What do I need to do? The robot doing, I need a job or an occupation. That's what I'm here to do. It's not always that. Sometimes it's just about authentically being who you are, no matter what you're doing. So you can do whatever the hell you want while you're here. You have free will. As long as you're authentically yourself through that expression, you're doing your job. Okay, so for this particular individual, that was her purpose, just to authentically be her in her everyday interactions, which is super powerful. So she's enmeshed and embedded in the collective, spreading her love and light with everyone, everywhere. It's not this grandiose thing. It is grandiose, but it's not the classic grandiose that we think we have to be. We have to be standing up there and in front of a bunch of people, and that's not what it is at all. It's one of those, I guess, a silent hero, right? In the collective, what she's doing is subconsciously helping everybody else to heal by shining her light. I think it's just so beautiful. And I love people like that. And more people need to embrace that. That is so undervalued, which is so crazy. We need to flip that on its head and really start to value that and integrate that into our everyday lives. Everything you do matters, and you just need to shine your light. If you're shining your light, you're doing your job. All right. It also said her grandmother is very proud of her from the other side and is always with her. And my client could feel her at the time. And the higher self described how she's going to feel after the session and how she's going to integrate and put everything together. And I asked the higher self why the session unfolded the way it did for her. Because normally in a textbook session, we have the interview, we talk for a few hours, they go into trance, they have a past life or life experience of some kind, and then the higher self channels through and we get answers and healing. Boom, big. And not every session goes like that, but this one was interesting because she came into only stuff in this life and she was moving scenes without me having to ask her to. And the higher self came through, then the higher self popped out, and then we went through other life stuff, and then she was kind of half higher self, half her, and then I brought the higher self fully back in. So it's very interesting. And the higher self said no past life was necessary and all the trauma is from this life. So that's why there was no past life or other lives. And perhaps in the future, she could look at past lives once she's addressed the trauma of this life. It also said that she needs to express herself authentically, and she did so through this session by having her own authentic layout. So again, lots of layered messaging. Be authentically yourself. And the higher self is showing it through all these different ways, even through the layout of her session. So cool. One of the last things here is her asthma or shaky breathing that she had was actually repressed crying and sadness manifesting from the traumas from this lifetime. And as she removes the weight that she carries, her chest is going to open up and she'll take deeper breaths. So her asthma is the weight from this life, her job especially at the time. It was constricting her ability to take deep breaths. And as she lives the life she needs to be living, it's going to resolve. For me, my personal story, I had severe asthma and allergies come out of nowhere all of a sudden. It affected my ability to go to work, to be a parent. I ended up having to be on a lot of medication. I missed a lot of work. It was very stressful until I started dealing with my shit, essentially. And now you see where I am here today, doing what I'm doing, shining my light, doing my thing. So same with this client. Things were expressing themselves physically through the body. And as she's healing those things, her body is taking care of the rest. The dis-ease is gone because she's choosing herself, loving herself, and expressing herself authentically. So a lot of times I have sessions with clients. I get a lot of healing and learn lessons from them for myself as well. So that's why I'm so excited to share them with you, because you can also learn lessons and apply it to your everyday life for your own healing. Lastly, the higher self recommended that she stay on her medication for depression and anxiety until she's taken the necessary steps in her life to alleviate her symptoms. Again, here is kind of slightly leaning on the pharmaceuticals because she's at a certain vibration or frequency, and to just stop doing everything, it would be really abrupt and not to her, what do I say, advantage. So in this instance, it's saying, okay, change your life, then work on getting off of those because you're probably not going to need them soon, right? So it's allowing her a nice, slow, easy transition. Sometimes the higher self's like, nope, they don't need it. They're healed. Get them off of that. But for this particular client, she was being held accountable to herself, which I think is so great. So that's the recap I have for this session. And if you stay tuned, the audio is going to follow.
You see as you come back down to the surface. I'm in an apartment. You're in an apartment, you said. Backyard. Okay. Have a look around and tell me what you see in the backyard. My sister, my dad. What else do you see? Describe the backyard to me. Grass, there's a garden, a parking lot. There's a barbecue. And what's happening here in this scene that you're looking at? Playing. And you said you're outside. What else do you see outside? Describe the parking lot and anything else.
Busy street. People in the parking lot. Dad's just standing there.
And what sounds do you hear?
I hear the city. Hear all the cars. Jessica wants a hug.
Jessica wants a hug from you. You said Jessica wants a hug.
Yeah.
Who's she talking to? Or you just know, maybe. Tell me more about that.
She's just holding her arms out. We're playing. I love her.
And how does the temperature feel on your skin in that moment?
Sunny and warm. The grass is cold on my feet.
And when you take a deep breath in, what do you smell?
The city.
And do you have a body? happens? Jessica's got her arms reached out.
I want to hold her.
And what do you decide to do?
To hold her.
And tell me what that feels like as you hold her.
Like my heart's full.
And as you are holding each other, tell me what that feels like to have a full heart.
I can breathe.
You said you can breathe. And how does that feel to just be able to breathe like that?
Alive.
I want you to look down. Do you see your feet?
No.
No. What do you see when you look around yourself?
I don't know.
What happens next when you and Jessica are holding each other? Tell me what happens next.
She wants me to chase her.
And what do you decide to do?
To play.
Tell me about that.
Just running after her. She has some toys.
You said she's got some toys. Tell me about those.
I'm just running to catch her. I miss her. I miss her.
Tell me about that.
She's gone.
Sorry, can you say that again?
She's gone.
Where is she? What happened?
It's going black.
It went black. What happens next? Tell me what you see or sense.
At my house.
Tell me more.
I'm looking at my backyard.
Okay. Tell me about that. Describe it to me.
Big deck. It's our new house. Slowly, nobody's there.
No one's there, just yourself? Or
Just me.
and tell me more about what you're doing there.
I'm floating over her.
Tell Tell me what you observe or sense as you float over it. Describe that to me.
Everyone's doing their life.
And what are they doing?
I have to go inside.
You said you have to go inside.
Should I go inside?
Would you like to?
No.
And why is that?
No reason. Mom's watching TV. My dad's on the deck. I don't know where Jess is. Nothing's happening.
And what are you doing?
I'm just floating.
And tell me what else is happening. What happens next in that scene that you're viewing?
I'm going to the cottage.
And describe the cottage to me. What does it look like?
There's trees everywhere. Grandma's sitting there.
What else do you see?
The leaves are blowing. Flowers are out.
What's your grandmother wearing?
A flowered shirt. She's sitting at her table. I love her.
Yeah. Tell me more about your love for your grandma.
She's my whole heart.
Tell me more about how she's your whole heart.
She loves me.
And tell me what else you observe there.
My cousins are playing.
Say it again.
My cousins are playing.
And where are you? What are you doing?
Gonna sit with Grandma.
Okay. As you sit with Grandma, I want you to look down. Do you have feet?
I don't know.
How does the deck feel beneath you?
I have grass.
You're sitting on the grass with her? Describe how the grass feels beneath you.
It's cold.
And where are you sitting?
By the road at a table.
And describe what you're sitting on.
A white chair.
And what kind of clothes are you wearing, if any?
I'm just wearing a baggy top and shorts.
Do you feel male or female?
I don't know.
Do you feel young or old?
I feel young.
Does your body feel healthy?
Yeah.
And what do you spend most of your time doing?
Playing.
Yeah, tell me more about that. What do you like to play?
Ride my bike. I want to go fishing.
Tell me what happens next in that scene with your grandma.
I want to go to the lake.
Okay, what do you decide to do?
I can't see anything.
That's okay. Tell me what you're seeing now.
Nothing.
Okay, that's perfectly normal. Now leave that scene and let's move to an important day. A day that you consider to be important when something is happening. We have now moved forward to an important day. What is happening and what do you see?
I got a swing set.
You said you got a swing set? Tell me about that.
It's blue and white. My grandpa brought it.
Oh, wow. Why did your grandpa bring a swing set?
I don't know. They're building it in the yard.
What do you think about that?
Love it.
And what else is happening while they're building it?
With visiting.
Yeah? Who's there with you visiting?
Dad. Grandpa's there.
And what happens next? They've built the swing set.
Jess and I are going to play.
And tell me about that. That sounds fun.
We're going to play on the swings.
What do you do on the swings? Do you have any games you play?
Yeah, the swing set keeps lifting up.
What do you think about that?
It's dangerous.
Yeah. Is it fun?
Yeah, but we have to be careful.
Yeah, definitely. Tell me what happens next.
We're going to have burgers.
And who's making the burgers?
Dad's going to barbecue.
Yeah. And tell me what happens after that.
We're going to eat.
Who's eating with you?
Everybody's eating.
Yeah. It's your mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, and Jess?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else there?
No.
And you're eating hamburgers?
Yeah, I want to go rollerblading.
Yeah. You want to go rollerblading? Are you able to do that, or?
Yeah, Jess will come.
Okay, so you go rollerblading and tell me what happens.
It's so fun.
Tell me more about that.
I'm really fast.
Yeah. How fast?
Like, so fast.
Nice.
She's not good at rollerblading.
No, but you're good at it.
Yeah. I just want to go so fast.
You have to wait for her to catch up.
No, I don't wait for her.
So where do you
We're going to go to Max Milk. We're going to get a slushie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What kind of slushie do you get?
I want to get the blue one. Jess likes Coke.
Yeah.
I want to hurry though.
Why is that?
I don't know, we have to go fast.
Yeah. What is that?
I don't know. I just want to go so fast.
What's that like? Tell me what it's like when you go fast.
Feel free.
Yeah. Tell me more about that feeling.
I just want to go so fast. I want to get away from all of it.
Yeah. Tell me more about that. Getting away from it all and you go fast. That feeling of just like getting away from it.
It's free.
Yeah.
It leaves me alone.
Yeah. How does it feel to sit in that? Bill, do you enjoy that?
I love it. I just want to keep going.
Yeah. Would you like to keep going and enjoy that?
I just want to be left alone.
Yeah. Tell me more about that.
Nags. My brain nags me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell me more about what your brain's nagging you about or what happens when that...
To do what I need to be, what I need to look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're getting away from that right now.
Yeah.
What a nice feeling to just be. Do you do this often?
Yeah.
What happens to your brain when you do that?
I feel alive.
Yeah. Tell me more about that.
I ride my bike.
Mm-hmm.
I just go as fast as I can and get away from everybody.
Yeah. So you can do it when you're rollerblading or when you're riding your bike. That's really great.
But my heart's heavy still.
Yeah. Tell me about your heavy heart.
Sad.
Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah. Tell me more about that.
I don't know why it's sad.
No. Maybe we can talk about it. We'll figure it out.
I'm so sad for her.
Yeah. What are you sad for?
My girl.
Yeah. Tell me more about her. What's going on?
Just her heart's sad.
Yeah. And why is that?
Oh, she can't just be happy.
No. Tell me more about that.
She can't find happy.
Yeah.
Her heart's so sad all the time.
Would you like to find out why, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's find out why. Is there someone you can ask?
I don't know who.
Yeah. You just put a call out. See if someone answers.
Why is she sad? Nothing.
Pardon?
Nothing.
It's okay. We can continue to talk, and I'm sure someone will hear the call and we'll get some answers. But it's a great space for us to, for her to feel and you to feel what needs to come out, right? Tell me more about the sadness. Is there anything else going on with that, or?
She's alone.
Yeah, she said that. Tell me more about that.
She's alone, but it stays with her. Or where she goes, or how fast. It's always with her heart.
Yeah.
We have to get rid of it.
Yeah. Oh, how would...
Has to get rid of it.
Yeah. What do you think's the best way to do that? Yeah. Where does the loneliness come from?
I think we need to hold her.
Yeah. You said you need to hold her? Would you like to do that?
She's not alone.
No. Tell her more about that. I think she needs to hear that.
It feels like she's alone, but she's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard for people to see her. She's so loved. But people can move fast around her. She's quiet. People don't notice her.
And when people don't notice her, she feels lonely? Yeah. Does she... Go ahead.
But she's not alone.
Tell her how she's not alone.
That she's so loved.
And how she loved.
The people in her life, they just don't know how to show her right. But she's loved. She's loved more than anyone will ever know. They just can't show her. They can't do it. They're not healthy. But they love her. It's not her.
No. Tell her more about that.
She needs to know it's not her. They're just hurt. But she's loved and they love her.
Yeah. How can she best recognize that truly?
Just soften her heart and understand that they didn't do it intentionally.
And tell her about softening her heart. What's going on there?
Just because it doesn't look the way that she thinks it should look or feel the way doesn't mean it. They just can show the way that she needed to have it seen.
Right.
Left her alone, but they do love her, and she's gonna have to forgive them for that.
Right. What is it that she needs to forgive?
That they're human, that they didn't want to hurt her. They're sorry she felt alone. But they're human. And they tried.
So, you said she has the loneliness now it's attached to her heart, and she needs to soften her heart.
Yeah.
What's her heart look like right now?
She's getting there, but she's gonna need lots of cuddles.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
It takes time to heal.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna hold her till the softness heals.
Yeah.
Her parents love her. They just couldn't show her.
And as you hold her, who
I
are
need a
you?
Kleenex.
Oh, absolutely. Here, I've got it right here. You can just put it right next to you on the bed. Yeah.
Poor girl.
You said we are holding her. Who's we?
Me.
Yeah. she can call you mom.
Because I'm gonna protect her and I'm gonna hold her.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be everything she needs.
Oh, that sounds so good. Oh, she is so loved.
My poor girl.
As you're holding her, snuggling her.
She's so sad.
Yeah. I'm sure she's so glad to be held right now.
She's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Especially she's got you. Her mama. Her mom. Yeah.
She's gonna be okay, I think.
Yeah.
Can't leave her though.
No. No. And you'll always be there for her. Tell her more about that, your love, and how you'll be there for her, and she won't be lonely anymore.
Yeah, she doesn't need to walk with this life alone. But I'm gonna help her and I'm gonna be here. She's okay now though.
Yeah. Tell her about how she's okay.
She's smiling.
Yeah.
Oh, it's off her heart. She gets it.
Yeah.
We can't let her go.
Yeah. What does she get? How's she get it?
She gets it.
Yeah.
She knows I love her.
Yeah.
But she knows she has me.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. Would it be appropriate to do a body scan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, go ahead and do a scan and let her know what you find and where you're looking.
I don't know.
Where would you like to start?
Help me.
Pardon?
Help me.
Okay. How would you like help?
I'm at Brian's house.
Yeah. Okay. And tell me what's happening.
I don't know.
You're at Brian's house. Describe his house to me.
I don't know what I'm doing yet.
That's okay. But you know you're at Brian's house? Okay. Well, while you're there, let's set the scene.
There.
No, why not?
I hate them.
Hate who?
I hate all of them.
Yeah. Oh, tell me more about that.
They're bad.
Who?
All of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me more about them.
They just pretend to be good.
Yeah. Like, what do they do?
They hurt my whole heart.
Oh. Tell me more about how they hurt your heart.
They pretended to love me.
Yeah. You pretended?
And he left me. My baby.
Mm-hmm. How does it feel?
Sad.
Yeah.
She doesn't even care. Why doesn't he care? He can't care. He's too sick.
Tell me more about that.
He's sick now. He's gone.
He's sick now and he's gone. What happened?
He's addicted. But his heart's been gone his whole life.
Oh, tell me more about that.
His heart's been broken forever. His dad hurt his heart. He just always just wanted to feel better.
Yeah.
He's not a bad person. His heart just was broken time. I couldn't get it to stop.
Anything else?
Please. He doesn't want to be on the streets. He doesn't want to be an addict. He's sorry. He is sorry. He has to survive. He knows what he's done to me. He just can't right now. He's gotta survive. He's gotta live. He doesn't want to get help.
How do you feel now about Ryan?
That I miss him.
Yeah.
I miss him so much. But I'm sorry that I couldn't help his hurt heal.
Yeah. You tried though.
And I have to let him go, and I don't want to.
Tell me more about how you have to let him go. You don't want to.
Because he's not healthy.
Yeah.
But I miss him. Hold me.
Yeah. Remember, you've got your mom that can hold you while you go through this. Would you like that?
No.
No.
I want him.
Yeah. Tell me more about that. Why you want him?
Because he makes me feel better.
Yeah. How does he make you feel better?
But I have to remember. I don't know. Why can't I let him go? Why does it hurt this much? Brian. Let him go.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
It hurts so bad. Why can't the world let me let him go?
I think it's the world won't let you.
I feel like I'm clinging for my life to can I have more clean?
Yeah, right here.
I can't say goodbye to him, it's me.
Yeah. Tell me more about that. Why can't you say goodbye?
I don't know why, because I just... It's sad
Yeah.
to say goodbye. He's their daddy.
Yeah. What does saying goodbye look like? Or feel like?
He can't access me like this. Yeah. I have to have boundaries.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean by that?
He can go and live in his space.
Mm-hmm.
He can have limited, healthy conversations with the kids, but I can't have any interaction with him.
Right.
Because he's not healthy, and it's too hard for me because I love him to not want to, and then I miss him, and in order for me to move forward we can't have a connection like that anymore.
Right.
So no more.
Right.
What's gone is gone, and he he was awful to me in more ways than just this. So I love him and respect him as a human. But he doesn't need to be tethered to me any longer. I've known him longer than I should have.
Right.
He abuses it anyway, and I have a good life to go live.
Here's another Kleenex. You can drop the other ones just next to you in the bag.
He's holding me back. And he just has there's bad around him. There's bad energy, like black.
Yeah.
There's scary. I see him and he's all black.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care because he just is sick now.
Right.
But he's gonna suck you in.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get near it. No. So I need to just say goodbye. That's okay though. Because I don't need that anymore.
Tell me more about that. I don't need that anymore.
It's a new life.
Yeah. Tell me more about the new life you're gonna live.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. I'm excited. I want to be in love and laugh so much. I want to eat so many snacks. I want my kids to just be happy and healthy and just see me for a person.
Yeah.
But if not, I'll go on a trip.
That sounds great.
Yeah. I love him too. I'm gonna love this guy.
Yeah. Tell me more about that.
He's just gonna see me where I'm at. It's gonna be easy.
Yeah. That's lovely.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real.
I'm so happy for you.
Me too. I deserve it.
Yes, you do. Very much. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's all easy.
Yeah. How's that feel?
I can relax a lot.
Yeah.
But I want to help people, but I need to relax for a while.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired.
Yeah. What's the best way for you to do that?
We're going to do lots of fun stuff, but it's going to be resting.
Yeah.
And just healing my heart. And I want to take care of all those people I love.
Yeah.
And just people who have kept me afloat and alive. I want to take care of them, but I can't until I rest.
Right. Yeah.
I need to rest.
Yeah. And you're ready to take that step and do
Yeah.
that. Now, how can you best do that for yourself right now? What's the next step?
Rest.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that I have to stop trying to fix everybody and help everybody. I have to start, in order for me to attract what's next, I have to fall in love with myself again. I have to love being with me and to love me. I need to rest. I need to eat well. I need to find hobbies.
Yeah.
And I need to be so great living in my own life that it attracts anything else.
Yeah. Wow. I can feel your soul smiling.
Yeah, it's excited. And in the meantime, I have to just cut the cord on and put some boundaries up and start telling people no a lot louder. Because I have a great life coming, but I can't do it if I'm too busy running around for all those doughheads.
Exactly. So what does that look like today for you when we're here in this session? When we do that for you?
What do you mean?
When you're here healing yourself today. It's beautiful. Tell me more about what's next for you and how you're creating those healthy boundaries. It just sounds so beautiful.
Yeah, I have to write it out though.
Yeah.
Because I don't know all the ways in which people are taking advantage of me.
Right.
And I have to stop with the guilt.
Yeah.
With the kids, I have to stop because just because I'm one parent and I've tried to do for two.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's taking from me, and they've taken me from so long that I'm running out of pieces left of me.
Right.
And so I have to slap their hands and they have to stop taking.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
have to start going to collect all those pieces that I've given away.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way of wording it. That's very funny. Very smart, though. I like that.
I'm going to tell them too, it's not that I don't love you.
Mm-hmm.
It's that I matter too.
Yes.
You're teenagers and you knowingly or unknowingly take that for granted. But I matter, and you're going to start to see that this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
I just have to figure out work.
Yes. Yeah. That balance.
Huh. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's going to change there, though.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go with that.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
I think I have to look elsewhere.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that I've done everything I can. I think that you can't force people to see a truth they don't want to see or be accountable to the decisions, right? All I can do is take care of myself. So
Right.
if this is going to be the way it is, I have to look somewhere where I can feel respected and empowered, and
Right.
I don't feel that way here.
Right.
They'll continue to abuse me because they're getting something for nothing, right? Like, why would they ever change? And why would I sit in a situation knowing that they're not motivated to?
Right.
This life's too short. Like, it's a job.
Mm-hmm.
Go somewhere else. The world is your oyster.
It's so true.
And I deserve it.
Yeah.
Like, I work so hard so I could just go work wherever I want.
Exactly.
I don't know why I'm staying there. That's stupid. Then I'm going to feel so many of the shackles break off,
Yeah.
and then my glow is going to get bigger because I'm not having other people plug into me anymore. They're taking all my brightness.
Right. Yeah.
And people have to be responsible for themselves. Why do I have to carry everybody? That's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell yourself more about that. Like, that's a big one for you.
carrying people.
Yeah. Breaking those shackles. And
I think I do it like the kids is because I feel like I have guilt from, if I was drinking when they were younger, or if they seen too much of that, or them not having a dad. But you know what? You can still fucking do your laundry. That has nothing to do with
yeah.
your trauma.
Right. Right. Right.
And that's their responsibility. It's my responsibility to teach them that. I'm just enabling them.
Right.
They are so cunning and manipulative, those little teenagers.
You're on to them.
I am.
In the best way, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That feels freeing though, doesn't it? It's hard because then I go back into that space and I just feel the walls close in, and
Yeah.
I don't have the strength or like the skill set right at the second.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's hard to fight that.
Right.
I have to figure that out.
Yeah. Eliminate the resistance.
Yeah.
And find the flow. Yeah. How can you best find the flow, do you think?
That's the hardest part of this.
Yeah.
Is how do I go in there and essentially upend operations as they were.
Yeah. Oh, I know it'll work out.
Well, and I think what I'm learning is I could talk to them about it till I was dead.
Right.
But until I start saying no,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be those conversations.
Yeah.
But I have to remember every time I say no or put a boundary, I'm making, my light shine a little brighter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of them or me, not in like a mean way.
Yeah. Oh, this is so wonderful, Chantel. What does it say here? No, I'd like to call in your subconscious or higher self, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just going to drift away from the life you were viewing and the things we were visiting. And just drift and float away, leaving the woman there to continue on her own journey. She'll find peace and she'll find what she's supposed to find. We're going to leave her there to continue her own journey. She will find peace and find what she is supposed to find. We're leaving her there to continue on her own path. Now, I'd like the consciousness and personality of Chantel to return into the body and integrate back into the body. May I speak to Chantel's high self, please?
Yeah.
And I respect the power of your high self because I know it takes care of Chantel's body and does a very good job of it. And I also know that the high self has the records of everything that has ever happened to Chantel in this lifetime and all the other lifetimes that she has ever lived. So I respect the power of the high self, and I'll always ask for permission to speak to it and ask questions. Do I have permission to ask questions?
Yes.
Wonderful. So I know that the high self could have brought forth many different lifetimes and experiences for Chantel to see today. And today, the high self, you decided to show her parts of her current life. And I'd just like you to tell Chantel why you showed her what you did.
She needs to heal.
Yeah, tell me more about that.
Yeah, she's picked up some hurt.
Mm-hmm.
She's sensitive and she picks up on everything.
Yeah.
It's left a mark on her, but she chooses to carry it forever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's time to leave that where it is.
Right. Tell her more about that, leaving where it is.
Yeah, my sweet girl is just... She's so easily hurt. But the intentions or the wounds that have caused those hurts, we're not meant to bear those for eternity.
Right.
We'll heal those and on your way you go.
Yeah. Tell her how you're doing that for her.
We're giving her space to heal.
Yeah.
We're giving her people to help her. We're giving her love. She needs rest.
It's so wonderful. And she'll have access to all of that and be able to take advantage of it all.
She needs to tell people no.
Yeah. Tell her more about that.
Yeah. It's sad to watch because who she is being dimmed by all the people who are taking from her. And she's just one little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me mad and sad.
Yeah.
But she loves. But love doesn't look like that.
No. Tell her what love does look like.
Love looks like starting with loving yourself. A mother isn't responsible eternally for all the needs of her child.
Yeah.
And I want her to love her. Why is her light so dim?
Yeah. Yeah, what's going on there?
She's poured out too much. She's reaching for things to try and, I guess, resuscitate herself, but that's just it's not gonna fix it.
Right.
It's gotta come from within. It's gotta come from loving herself again. She has to start to take care of herself. She has to stop letting people take everything from her.
Mm-hmm.
Start telling people no. She needs to glow again. She's so dark.
Mm.
She's so tired.
Yeah. Where does that all stem from? Is it within this life or somewhere else? Or?
I don't know. There's a exhaustion.
Yeah. Where's that exhaustion come from? Why's that there?
That's this life.
Yeah.
This life's not been kind.
When did that start for Chantel?
There's Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's bad energy there.
Yeah. Tell her more about that.
He's not capable. There's the energy of him and who he is. He was destined to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And she just tried to respond and change. But he would have never been happy with anything.
Oh,
No.
wow.
And it's evil. It's from a place of bad.
Mm.
And she changed herself for a person that was manipulative.
Mm.
And he blew out her light.
Oh, okay. Right. So,
But she's getting it back. She's almost there. She's been through the worst of it.
yeah. Oh, tell her more about that. I'm sure she'll be relieved to hear that.
That wasn't her path.
No?
Brian, no. She was adamant.
Yeah.
But she's gonna step into this new life the way this world intended her to be.
Yeah. Tell her more about that.
Her energy, she's going to get her glow back. She's gonna do what she has to. She loves herself too much to not fight. And it's gonna take some time, but she's gonna step out and there's just gonna be this glow about her.
Mm.
And with that, she's gonna have everything
Yeah.
that she's so beautiful. She's tried so hard.
Yeah. She is beautiful inside and out for sure.
But we just had a bad character cross paths and it took a little while to get that
Mm-hmm.
that black off of her.
Yeah. So the black's off of her now?
Almost. She has a few more steps to take because it leaches in everywhere, right? Like I see it as like coming under the doors and like kind of like toxic, satanic almost.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell her more about that, how she's taken the last few steps to kind of...
She really has to she owes him nothing.
Right.
And since the moment they met, he's pulled her down. So
Yeah.
she needs to seal up the doors and look forward. No more looking back. She's only looking back because she's lonely.
Right.
And empty and tired, and that's familiar. And for whatever reason, she thinks he felt comfort, but he caused 900% of the pain and agony she went through.
Right.
So that's a bit distorted.
Yeah. Can you tell her more about the loneliness that she feels? Where's that coming from?
Well, it's her being is just so sensitive and unique and loves those quiet, sensitive, tiny little moments, with grass and water. She feels things on such a deeper level that it's hard for her to connect to people the way most people do. And it leaves her feeling lonely.
Right.
It shouldn't be meant to be something that's bad. It means that she connects in a way on a deeper level with this world that she's going to have to seek out, or else she will feel lonely with the relations of this world.
Right. Yeah.
Because she just needs to feel it through her body, those connections, and that's why she's always felt lonely. She has so many people around her, it's crazy.
Right.
But her heart needs to connect it on a deeper level,
Right.
and she's not getting that anywhere.
Okay. And why is that?
I think she has to understand that more about herself so that she can seek it out.
Right. Okay.
So she needs to connect to like the depths of this world and the people to feel a connection.
Right. Okay.
And so without that, and without learning how to find that, to seek that out, to foster that, she's going to feel alone her whole life.
Right. Yeah.
Because basic friendships, they don't touch her heart.
No. No. She needs more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that look like for Chantel? Like,
It's alone. She feels lonely in her body.
okay.
She's not connected to herself.
Right. And why is that? Explain that to
She's
us.
been too busy taking care of other people. She feels alone. She needs to be able to sit and do things that make her happy.
Yeah.
Do things that make her feel alive.
Yeah. Now, she was saying earlier in our interview that she wants to get to know herself, like fall back in love with herself again, like you said.
Yeah,
right?
but she doesn't even know where to start.
That's it. Yeah. She's like, where do I start? Who am I? What are my passions? Like, yeah.
She's overcomplicating it, though.
Yeah. Tell us more about like maybe how she can uncomplicate it.
So she doesn't need to read a book
Yeah.
on how to do it, but I think start small. I want her to look back on when she was younger.
Okay.
I have this thing. She would sit in the garden, like peel leaves, and just talk about stories in her head. And that's where she would be out there for hours.
Right.
So she needs that one-on-one with herself, and I think she's just gonna have to go back to basics.
Right.
Stop. Just start with something, and she always wants it to like look the part or feel the part or be productive. And like, girl, I just want her to do something because you like it.
Right. Yeah.
And who cares what it looks like?
Can you help her deconstruct that a little bit? You know how that saying we have here in our humans, old habits die hard.
Yeah.
Where we have a painted picture and we know, we can see what we're supposed to do and how things actually aren't.
It's
But
those judgments though of she really that like her dad's super judgmental.
Right.
And she hears that all the time.
Right.
So he can be very critical. So it's almost like even at her house, she's on guard.
Right.
Just in case he comes so that it looks like she's doing. So she truly can't even feel comfortable to do something mundane and stupid.
Yeah.
For fear of the judgment of others. Her partner was like that too in his family. Like they were all very critical of her. And in her nature, she changed who she was so that she could be that person, but now she's alone still, right? So
yeah.
I don't want her to necessarily seek out people. I want her to seek out herself, and it's gonna be in those quiet, non-sexy, hobbies, because it's not who she is. She's gonna be painting rocks or collecting something or.
So would this be fair to say she's feeling kind of like a dweeb? She's doing
yes,
it right? Like,
she needs to be real to herself, and she is not a dweeb, but she's intricate and deep. And a loner. She's a loner. And she likes her little things, and I want her to know that's okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're probably reading in my mind. Like how, she can be a loner, but she's not alone. Can you help her understand that?
It's just the society is just placed so much emphasis on like sexy, out there, fun, and that's just not who she's ever going to be.
Yeah.
It's exhausting for her.
And is society really like that though? Or is that something she's like created? Can you maybe explain that to
She's
her?
seen it work, right?
Right. Okay.
Like
Yep.
the loud, boisterous one. I think that's where her drinking came in. The
Right.
loud, not insecure one. But those
Yeah.
connections were fake, right? Like, look at how
Yeah.
her relationship ended.
Right.
So, in order to have real, long lasting, I'd rather have one friend who likes me for who I am than 60,
Right.
who
Yeah.
believe lies.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Did you want me to ask some of the questions that Chantel had written down during our interview?
Sure.
Okay. Um, so when she says, why do I feel sad or angry or hurt all the time?
Yeah, that goes back to that little one just picking up on traumas and holding those with her forever. There's nothing catastrophic that's happened.
Okay, like an
It's
accumulation or?
it's just her relationship, her parents, they seem distant and cold, and they're beautiful people, but that house was quiet, lonely, and empty to grow up in.
Okay. So there's no like one pinpoint you're saying, it just kind of all like added up? Or?
Yeah, and I think she needed, and all children need, that connection,
Mm-hmm.
that compassion, that love, that space. They need that.
Right.
And by all things, they had food, clothing, etc., but it was lonely.
Right.
It was isolating. They
Yeah.
were ignored, and I think she just is so sensitive, and she's really taken that on.
Mm. From like like what I've looked up in line of work I'm kind of getting into here at ARN, from what I understand, we kind of choose our life path. Did Chantel choose to have that childhood? And if she did, like maybe, is there a lesson or a reason why that she chose those parents and that childhood that she had?
Chantel should be okay on her own. I think that's why this is difficult.
Mm.
It's just her frame of mind has chosen to see the negative points of it all, I suppose. But she wouldn't like it if anyone was near her, around her, or in her space either.
Oh, right. It should be completely
So,
opposite.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure that's good for her to have you kind of recognize that and explain to her. So I'm sure she appreciates that. Was there anything else you wanted to add to why she feels sad, angry, or hurt all the time?
she's taken a lot of shit, but she's also, how do I say this? She's shape shifted her entire life and morphed into different versions, and
Mm-hmm.
the core of who she is
Right.
needs to be honored.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't start to happen, and if her face continues to change based on the people in the room, she'll just grow more and more alone,
Right.
more and more sad, more and more hurt. This has started since day one with Chantel.
Okay.
Chantel has shape shifted and morphed and people pleased her whole life. I think she learned to survive by keeping the peace. A super sensitive soul, and to keep the peace, you did what you were told. You kind of foreseen what someone could be mad at or a facial expression. And so she's been so in tune to that she's really just been responding to people her entire life and morphing based on that. She's
Right.
never walked into a situation 100% authentically Chantel, ever.
Right.
She's just morphed into versions of what people needed her to be.
Right.
And I think she's going to be afraid. It's going to be hard for her.
Yeah. And why?
She's never done it.
No? Well, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but she's such a good shapeshifter, morphing. That's like a superpower she can use for herself.
I don't think she's afraid she's going to be alone.
Oh, okay.
She's afraid that if she does show up, that she won't be loved or liked for who she is.
Right.
Or for the boundaries she puts up, and she really suffers with that at like a deeper molecular level of having that self-worth.
Right. You say a molecular level. Can you explain that to her?
Yeah, and I don't know that I can. Her self-worth has to, how do I say? She has to believe so much in who she is that she can step out in that faith and be 100% authentically who she is, regardless of the ramifications.
Right. What would because she's got these fears, right? And her and I talked in an interview about how fear is about the unknown, not having information or knowledge. And once we kind of gain some wisdom, that fear kind of goes, poof, gone.
Yeah.
What kind of information or knowledge can you share with Chantel today to help her kind of dissolve that fear so she can take that step forward and start stepping into her authentic self more readily?
I think it's a step-by-step approach.
Yeah.
Chantel's not going to be able to confidently step out
Right.
100% with that phase without having done the work to find out who she is, find out what she loves, find out what she likes or doesn't like. She has to build herself up block by block.
Right.
And then only then, when she knows who she is confident in who she is, can she then step forward without fear of the ramifications of showing up as themselves.
Right. Okay.
But she can't do it too soon because she's not there yet. She doesn't have the self-worth, the self-confidence. She's hollow.
Okay. Yeah, so it's not going to be like, she's not
No.
going to spring off this bed and be like, I'm authentically Chantel.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, step by step. Like, yeah, absolutely. Well, that
And
makes
it's going to
sense.
be, what do they say? They progress made in quiet, I guess. Do the work at home.
Yeah.
Do the, and then once she steps out.
Yeah. What does that look like for her? You kind of touched base on things she did as a kid and...
Yeah, so she
know.
needs to go back to basics.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see her look at the things. Like, Chantel used to label stuff in her room. Like,
Yeah.
That's the library. Like, just one of those really geeky, dweeby kids who would, like, stay in the library. And I want her to go back. Just start there.
Right. Yeah.
And she'll know what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And what feels good and sparks that and what doesn't.
Right. Okay.
It's really not a complicated... Hobbies aren't that... You like it or you don't.
Right. Yeah. And a hobby doesn't have to be a certain
No.
thing that we paint a picture about. It could be how it feels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. I'm so happy. I'm sure
And she
Chantel is
doesn't
too.
need to paint.
No?
No.
Okay.
I don't know why she thinks she has to do crafts. She hates crafts, but her mom has her doing crafts.
Right.
But she hates it. So, but I think she feels like if it's not productive and making lists or running, then you have to be doing paint or sander, and she hates art.
Oh my gosh, really? And she's doing it.
But her mom's convinced her, like,
Right.
do art. It's just like, she hates it. She's a
Aw.
perfectionist. So art is like the worst thing for her.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm sure she appreciates you sharing that and giving her like a permission slip to
Yes.
like skip that class.
Yeah,
And,
no more art. No
Okay.
more stained glass.
Anything else you'd like to tell her about that?
That she's put on this earth to show up.
Yeah.
And she needs to start showing up for herself.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so she says, may I ask the next question, or is there anything else you'd like to say? Sorry, I got
No,
excited.
that's okay.
Okay, you can just let me know. She says, what can I do to open up myself to receive the best version of my life?
That was just it.
Yep, I figured I might have answer or.
It's so funny how everything will expand by starting super small in ourselves. And I just, if anything, I want the girl to, like, it's so integral that she builds. I just see an empty image of a human and the auras around, and she has to put all her pieces,
It's like a puzzle.
back so that she can be that.
Right. Okay. Anything else you'd like to say regarding that?
That she's loved and that she didn't deserve what's happened.
Yeah.
But we all have choice, and her choices did lead to some really upsetting circumstances and consequences, but she's been equipped with a strength.
Mm-hmm.
But she's getting tired and she knows that. And I think that's why she's here.
Yeah.
She knows that her tricks aren't working anymore and that she's running out of juice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I had actually made note mentally to ask that. Thank you for reminding me. I wanted to ask for Chantel, why today?
yeah,
I was going away. She wanted to come in earlier. My schedule and hers didn't align. Why here? Why now? Why late? 10 o'clock. I'm sure that stressed her out. But,
yeah.
I told her divine timing. So tell her why she's here today, right here, right now.
This is timing so intrinsically perfectly with other happenings of her life right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like she had to be at the right place at the right time with the right people
Mm-hmm.
in order for this to be as integral as we need it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because she is at a place where so much of this is going to be dependent on her livelihood.
Right.
She's at a very, I guess, at a bridge or a crossroads where it's going to be dangerous
Mm-hmm.
here soon if she doesn't correct the balance.
Right. Yeah.
And that today other portions of her life are lining up to be in support of the same.
Right.
She's also recognizing the desperation and the place that she's at. And I think she knows. I see it as like a going down the drain almost, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you'd like to say about the divine timing of today for her, and anything else happening in her life right now?
Your energy, she feels authentically.
Yeah.
And so she does feel the vibes off of people, and her heart is open to connect with yours. So I want to thank you for that, because she has a beautiful skill set in being able to pretend everything's okay, but she's real with you, and that's such a relief for her heart.
Good. Oh, yeah.
And today was perfect because she's just at a crossroads, like ready to pull the plug on so much in life, and it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
But we appreciate you.
Well, thank you.
You're saving her.
Yeah. Well, my ego obviously loves that, but authentically, I'm like, yes, I'm on my life path. This is what I want to help people with, because I'm not doing it. I'm just
You have no idea,
it, right?
the power you will have in transforming her life. She needed to get to where she is to recognize what she needs, but she also recognizes that help for her needed to be on a deeper level. She doesn't. She's smart enough to reason herself out of anything, but her heart has been sore. She's tired.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that she made the effort and got here and is willing to do this, to get digging deeper and to heal herself. I'm just so proud of her. Like, I mean, I've just met her, but like on a, I can feel our hearts connecting today, where she's taking that step to heal herself, take her power back. So thank you for getting her here. I'm just so happy to be part of this with you guys.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to say about that, or shall I ask her next question?
No, go ahead.
Okay. She says, why do I continue to struggle with substance abuse and eating disorder?
It all lends itself back to when you're trying to be a version of you you're not.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to numb the parts of you that remember.
Right.
And she wants to show up and be 100% for this. And, it's so much more complicated. Dad set the standard of perfection.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to see, your ego wants it to look like you're doing all be all. But at the end of the day, she is one person.
Right. Yeah.
Intrinsically broken, and there's so many reasons why those things ended up happening, or they are, but we're feeding a lower level of self, right? Like substance abuse, eating, you're feeding the ego to keep going or to look this way.
Right.
When I think all of those can be reconciled if she can start loving herself, and to
Right.
love yourself, she needs to know herself. She
Right.
needs to be herself.
Right.
And then and only then will she see. Like, you can't address the substance abuse or any of that without. The girl needs to love herself again and needs to know herself. Otherwise, she'll run around pretending to be all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And substance abuse fuels that, right? Like, it allows you to be more, life of the party, whatever.
Right.
But she's feeding the ego with those things.
Right.
But it looks good and it makes you feel good temporarily, but then her heart's dying on the inside.
Right. Yeah. A couple of things came to my mind there, if you don't mind me asking. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Or-
go ahead.
Yeah. You mentioned her ego, and something just flashed in my mind. Is there anything you'd like to tell her ego or help her ego to integrate with you to kind of like connect that bridge? I know as a collective, we're all kind of bridging that where, you know what I mean, the higher self or oversoul, whatever us humans like to label things. I like to call it with the ego or kind of bridge that. What could you share with her ego today to kind of help reinforce what's happening today and also help the ego feel comfortable tapping into this part of her that I'm speaking with today?
The thing with Chantel is she feels when she's not connected to herself
Mm-hmm.
and to her truth. And the ego feels good.
Yeah.
And so I think she learned a valuable lesson in something that you said today, and that the ego does serve a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And Chantel is seeing that more truer than anyone.
Yeah.
That it did help her show up, survive. But she's showing up in this life moving forward without having to turn that ego switch on as much anymore. I'm hoping that she's going to be able
Right.
to live authentically.
Yeah.
So I think it's just she's going to need to be more aware, because she also uses it to her advantage,
Mm-hmm.
like that survival. And she also uses it as a scapegoat when she doesn't want to look in the mirror at what she doesn't know anymore.
Right.
So I think she has to have those conversations. Sorry, that's not as simple as I would like, but
No, I think it would resonate with Chantel. You know her
yeah,
best, right? Yeah.
she likes the way ego looks too, right?
Yeah.
And she's going to have to love herself more
Mm-hmm.
than the validation she gets from others. And
Mm-hmm.
that will come when she starts to love herself.
Right. Yeah. And then you had mentioned her heart. Would it be appropriate to look at her heart today, scan it, maybe see if there's any healing physically that needs to take place? I know there's some mental, emotional work to do, but
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, if you want to have a look and just let her know kind of how her heart's looking physically. Because I know sometimes things kind of go into the body, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do see such sadness,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want that to reflect what the heart is or will continue to be in this life.
No.
Her heart's sad based on the circumstances to date.
Right.
That's no way indicative of the future. She's going to have her heart's going to be exploding with just greatness.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah.
needs to just hold tight.
Okay. Okay.
And it did hurt. And what she went through as a child and what she's gone through as a teenager and as an adult, yeah, it leaves scars and it hurts your heart. But she just hasn't had the same, balance of good and bad that most people. It seems like there's been
Right.
a lot of bad for a long time. And so then you think the heart's. But no, it's just a matter of time. And she's about to step into her best life yet.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for her.
I'm excited too. And so, just to confirm, nothing like physically or physiologically requires healing in her heart today?
No.
Okay, awesome. Would it be appropriate to scan the rest of her body to see if there's anything that needs any attention or healing?
Sure.
Okay, you can go ahead and just let Chantel kind of know what you're doing and where you're at.
Yeah. I think we should go and have maybe like a gynecologist. I think there's something going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell her more about that. What do you see?
I just a heaviness, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel this is so much affected by trauma.
Yeah.
I don't really know how any of that works together, but so much of any of her physiological symptoms are
Mm-hmm.
so linked to the state of being that she's living in right now, where she's not
Yeah.
living, she's
Yeah.
surviving. And so I feel like she has to start taking her care of herself inside and outside, as cliche as that
It's
sounds.
true though.
But so much of her symptoms are related to her. She's literally left herself as the last person to take care of. And that was like 8 months ago. She checked in
Right.
with her. So,
Yeah. Yeah, well that's yeah, she said 8 months ago was the last time she menstruated.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that trauma does play a part, but I think that she's had some issues in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important for her, this on top of everything else, like be responsible for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
for showing up for yourself, for your body, for any
Mm-hmm.
symptoms. This just goes to show something else, that she's just like, yeah, she'll freaking be walking around with one arm and be like, no,
Yeah.
no, I'll get it again another day.
Yeah. Oh, I got another one.
Yeah,
Yeah. I can
exactly.
get a prosthetic.
I,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of just want to say, like, smarten up. Like, what do you
Yeah.
expect to have happen? You
Right.
haven't poured into yourself, loved yourself, or taken care of yourself, and now
Right.
you're like, yeah, this feels a little weird.
Yeah. My ego wants to like negotiate with you a little bit and you can set me straight because I guess I need to learn a thing or two. Because I understand that things manifest physically in the body when there's like mental, emotional, or traumas or whatever. And you said she should see a gynecologist, but is she not able to heal herself? Is there really a need for her to go see a gynecologist? Or just explain to her the benefit of going to that, why that's
I
better serving
just
her than
know
her.
historically she's
Yep.
had masses
Okay.
that I want to continue to make sure.
Right.
And I think she's ignored. She literally, whatever pre-existing conditions she had
Yep.
before the trauma, she left those there.
Okay.
And then just went through 10 years and just forgot she had any of those things.
Oh,
So
really?
she's
Okay.
neglected.
Right.
And so I'm concerned
Okay.
that those things should have been and need to be monitored.
Right.
But I do believe so much of this does. And like you said, the trauma, once we start to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
But she has some stuff happening that should have been monitored for the last decade.
Okay. Is she aware of that or just becoming aware
Yeah,
of
but
it?
it wasn't as prevalent. It's like she would menstruate for a bit and get it back, but
Right.
she just didn't lift her head outside of anybody else, and
Right.
she has to take care of herself. It's just ridiculous.
Right. So when did that or why did that start manifesting in that way in her body, right? Like it could have manifested many different ways, but why in that way?
I don't have that answer.
No, that's okay. Is there someone you could ask that would have the answer?
I feel like there's sexual trauma.
Okay.
But that's on another trauma based level
Okay.
that I don't think that I'm going to talk about today.
That's fine. I was going to ask if it's appropriate to
Okay.
discuss today or not. And if it's not, and it's maybe better for her to go the medical route, then absolutely, because you know Chantel best.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
think though that, like you said, trauma has tied itself into lots of different ailments,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something that needs to be medically managed.
Okay. And you fully support that and will allow her full
I don't
complete
think that trauma helps
Mm-hmm.
nor I think it's
Yeah.
gonna go hand in hand to her recovery.
Yeah, yeah.
But she's let it go for too long.
right. And it's also nice she's going to show up for herself in another way.
Exactly.
Yeah, have a little date for
Yeah.
herself and yeah, take care of herself.
That's cute.
Yeah. Okay. May I ask another one of her questions?
Yes.
Okay, she says, what's going on with mental health in our family? And do you know what she means? Obviously, you were there in the interview with us. She mentions that.
Yeah, this is a weird one. And it's weird, it shows up later, and like it shows up in her teenage years.
Yeah.
I don't have anything on that. Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Because she said like her mom's got
Yeah,
that,
her
or
mom.
yeah. So I'm wondering, is there a way you can look at is there anything in the Akashic records that kind of ties them all together?
It's
Where
all the way through.
yeah, like I'm just wondering if there's a pattern that you could help her just to
There's mental health
recognize.
though. It's bad on. It's bad. So I can't. I can't help with that though.
Okay, and that's fine. Is there a place or someone else you could ask just to see? We can all work together to help Chantel get that answer.
I I need a second.
Absolutely.
I know she's seen it manifest in her mom and the dangers that came along with it.
Mm-hmm.
When she feels it, it's a physical symptom,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't help.
Okay. And do you mind letting her know why? Just kind of explaining that to her?
I just feel blocked.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell her more about the block there?
Yeah, I feel like I can't gain the insight, the information that flows through me so easily with other parts.
Okay.
Maybe do you know how to assist?
Usually when there's a block, when I have a client, it means they're hiding something from themselves,
Okay.
right? Because there's a fear or, you know what I mean, a concern. So if there's that part of you, the part of you I'm talking to right now, understands that you always have, like Chantel's highest good in mind and are okay to look at the block or remove it or navigate it, then I always trust Chantel's higher self to navigate that or tap into other parts that are a different vibration of herself that's still the
Okay.
same oversoul. You know what I mean? There's different layers and levels of the energy that I'm speaking to today that may have more insight into what that block is and whether or not it's appropriate to remove that block for her. Does that help you navigate?
I think it's appropriate that I look at it just
Mm-hmm.
through Chantel.
Mm-hmm.
I can't gain insight as to even her mom only based on the experience through the eyes of Chantel.
Okay.
Her her family lineage, I can't draw, I guess, speculation or contrast to.
Right. Yeah.
But for Chantel, I can only speak where I'm at right now and in
Mm-hmm.
knowing the symptoms that exhibit.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. When symptoms come through, that's the physical body communicating. It's you
Yeah.
essentially communicating to her. So you can let her know what you're trying to communicate to her. That'd be wonderful.
So much of this is about control though.
Okay, tell her more about that. Yeah.
So her extreme changes in emotion
Mm-hmm.
are predominantly centered around trying to control the outcome. Again, to help manage perspective of those looking in and for herself. So she would rattle herself tireless and then angry and then the anguish in trying to, manage everything so that it looked the part, felt the part, acted like the part, and in that lack of control, then rage.
Mm-hmm.
It was just her strive for perfection
Mm-hmm.
and for looking the part was so much more important than anything else.
Right.
Her worth was tied to how it all looked.
Right.
And then within that, she would fall apart if it didn't meet the mark.
Right. Yeah.
And that's because her worth is tied to those exterior facades, right? None of it is her.
Right.
And so when those walls start to come down, yeah, you don't want anyone to see inside.
Mm-hmm.
And that would trigger.
Right. Okay. Well, now knowing what she knows now, and you explain that to her, what's that knowledge going to do to help her now that she kind of has understanding from you about that?
She's got to build that confidence from within.
Mm-hmm.
She's got to build herself back up so that she doesn't need to, it reminds me of like the smoke and mirrors. It doesn't need to look good.
Right.
She needs to be who she is
Mm-hmm.
and not care what anyone else thinks.
Right.
But she puts so much pressure on herself. No wonder, like, she would snap. Like, the extent that she went to try and make it look like she was what everyone wanted her to be was exhausting for her.
Yeah.
And so anytime one of those shifted,
Yeah.
that poor girl.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're able to kind of explain, like, not kind of, you did explain that for her so she can have a fuller understanding of why that's happening and maybe not see it as a mental disorder as much as physical symptoms she's exhibiting because of
Compounded, though, I
Yeah.
don't want to diminish the
Yes.
medical role in this, as I do know
Yep.
that there is a family lineage of, and have seen the sufferings
Mm-hmm.
thereof. But I
Yeah.
think that I guess the way in which she's living is compounding everything tenfold.
Okay.
Because it's triggering or building upon the anxieties, and then the depression is worse when she's not meeting those marks, and so she's feeding both wolves right now.
Ah, okay. Right.
But that's not to diminish, the fact that there is an underlying condition which, causes such,
Yes.
but she's not adding any value to it in the way she's living.
Right. So what do you recommend is the best way that she manages that and helps to slowly diminish it instead of ripping off the Band-Aid so
I
to
think,
speak?
like we've spoke to earlier, it's time to cut the crap and start building bit by bit the person we were meant to be, not the person we want to think the world we are.
Yes.
And all of this, it's just interesting to talk through this to see how connected and woven everything is into her current state.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to say about that? Or anything else we've discussed so far before I ask her next question?
No, you can go ahead.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay. She says, why do I want Brian to choose me or want me the most?
Yeah, that's the ego thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's unfortunate because she really never took the time or was given the space to figure out who she was. Everything's just happened so fast for her.
Right.
I feel like that question will become null and void when she rebuilds the authentic version of Chantel that she is.
Right.
It's just a pick-me. It's no different than any one of us when it comes to the ego.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to be loved first, picked
Right.
first. And for some reason, I think she thinks that in him choosing to stay with addiction, he didn't choose her.
Right.
But that's how addiction works.
Right. Like, I feel like she's choosing herself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Anything else you'd like to say about that?
No, it makes me mad, the question, I guess, in that.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like, why doesn't he love me? It's like, are you kidding?
Yeah. Your love.
Yeah, this was just went through.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, exactly.
well, while we're here talking about how awesome she is, why don't you sprinkle her some love? Tell her all the wonderful things about her. Feed
Oh
her
my
ego a
God.
little bit. If you don't.
She is amazing, like
Yeah.
tenfold. Like, just really is somebody who shows up 100%
Yeah.
for everyone and love, and that to her demise as well. But just such a lovely, beautiful person who has such a softness about her, and a cute, geeky, little, beautiful way of loving this world and feeling happiness. That I feel like that part hasn't been explored. I'm so excited for her life, though. And for her to honor those, she's intrinsically made to be who she is. At the moment that she can just recognize that's when she'll truly shine, is when she can honor those parts of her. My gosh, the world is her oyster. She's going to step off into greatness.
Anything else you'd like to add?
That's everything.
Okay. The next question she has is looking for closure on the relationship with Brian, but I think
He's dead.
Yeah. Okay, cord cut. Her next question says, why can't I sever that tie?
Cut.
Does she give like scissors in her mind?
I know.
Yeah.
It's like watching a child who wants something that's bad for them.
Right, but I want it now.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, because that went well for you, didn't it?
Yeah. All right. Next question. What's next, or what's her hope for the future?
Oh,
I'm excited for her.
yeah, and it's hard for her because she can't vision it because she's in such a place of sort of cloudy despair. And so I can see how she would want to ask that. It's so hard, right, when they can't see what we see.
You're telling me.
It's just, I feel sad for her, but to give her hope, I wish I could just give to her what I could see.
Right.
Like the excitement. It's such a bright, light, shiny excitement. Like all I see is laughter and smiles all the way around. And just happiness and peace. And so everything that this world has for her is coming for her.
Right.
But that is not going to be able to come full force and effect until she is in her true place and able to accept it. It's about accepting it, right? Chantel has so many blocks she puts up everywhere and trying to keep safe in this really toxic survival mode she's in. She's like, oh, it's familiar, right? But it's like it's a nest made of barbed wire, but you're comfortable in it because you've been in it.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good metaphor. I might use that in the future.
It's just like, come on, girl. Really? Yes, we know you know where it is, but if she's not gonna come willing to accept and like remove the barriers, but she'll get there. It'll just be bit by bit.
Okay. I love that. Okay, and then her next question is, how do I manage unhealthy workplace?
Yeah, I think we touched on that. We're just going to cut the cord and throw all these things out.
Poop gun.
Yeah, I think she knows. And I think that's where a lot of her defeats come. So she's hit kind of like a different low even as of late because it's hard. It was hard for her to assert herself, have those conversations because she is a people pleaser. But when she did and wasn't validated, that's a demonstration of a toxic workforce. You don't know any other energy.
Yeah.
So she'll be looking elsewhere.
Good. And then I'll talk logistics on her behalf, I guess, a little bit, right? She's a single mom, very busy. How or when is she going to find time for these things for herself?
In terms of hobbies?
Yeah, like just feeling, loving herself, getting back to basics. And
Chantel has nerdy. She's not going to go out and build a wall or like.
Yeah, but just spending time. I don't know. Just want to make sure. I figure single mom, usually she's like, oh, I have to do this. I have downtime.
She has a library across from her that she started to go to.
Good. Okay.
And she loves it there. She feels so like herself there.
Yeah.
She needs to go and find more places. She feels like she's 7 when she's at the library.
Okay.
And so she's learning to step back into those places where she found familiar love, right?
Right. Okay.
So she will. And her kids don't, like, they're teenagers.
Yeah.
They don't want to hang out with her.
Yeah.
So
they're doing their
she
own
has
thing.
time. Tell her to turn Netflix off.
Okay, so she's got the time, and I just wanted to make sure she's got that, like, ability.
Hers
in her
is
life.
the fear.
Okay.
Of not being able to figure who she is or being able to figure out. But she's taking it way too seriously. Like, girl, take a book on dinosaurs if you like it. You don't if you like whatever, right? Like, yeah. She's making it so much more than it needs to be.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Do what makes you laugh and don't do what doesn't.
Right.
Tagline.
Yeah. Trademark.
Yeah, exactly.
Chantel's myself.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The next thing is because she has to pay her bills, right? So she leaves this job, that's her worry, right?
She would never haphazardly just feel like, you know what?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she'll be empowered even taking the steps to build a resume, a cover letter, and apply.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's enough to shift.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think she'll be able to walk in stronger boundaries at work, knowing that she knows they don't have her by the balls. Pardon
Right.
my
No, no,
yeah.
you girl, it's all good.
Yeah, I think she needs that shift. Like, fuck
Yeah.
you, taking my power back, one foot out the door, because
Right.
it's not going to change. And she'll die at this. She knows, and she's sought out yourself and these conversations because she knows it's do or die with some of these things.
Yes.
Chantel doesn't go asking for help unless
I can feel that.
she
Yeah.
has reached her limit, or else
Yeah.
she would have figured it out like she has all along.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Is there a reason that she had to go this far to before she asked for help?
pride,
Yeah.
ego, never, it wasn't, she's taking care of herself.
Mm-hmm.
She's fiercely independent.
Mm-hmm.
And so much of this ties into just, I don't want to say ego.
Mm-hmm.
There's a balance that needs to happen, being, taking care of yourself and where you've let your pride. In practicing too much pride, she's removed portions of her true self. I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah,
but
my human brain can wrap around.
Okay.
I think Chantel would get that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What matters is that she understands what you're saying.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
like you're doing a deal with the devil, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, I'm not going to ask for help, but yeah.
Yeah. But here's the consequence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What is her purpose in this lifetime? Why did she incarnate into this life?
Oh,
What's
she's
her
gonna
purpose?
she's gonna breathe light, laughter. She has this perfect mix of compassion and connection with the wisdom. She's gonna be able to help people where they're at because she has this uncanny ability to make people feel welcomed, to feel loved, to feel supported, to feel like they've been part of her life forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yet has the wisdom to help them walk through their journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And can you paint a picture for her as to what that looks like? Like for me, my brain goes, oh, I had to get a job as a healer. Right.
No,
but what does it
this is
look like
going
for
to be
her? I feel
on
it's
the ground.
different.
This is
Yeah.
going to be in her relationships.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be in like a holistic, natural way. She's not going to be sitting at like a shelter.
Yeah.
She needs to, and her power comes from the people she meets in the streets or,
Yeah.
through divine intervention. Her power is being the people's person and
Yes.
walking the ground and being able to heal, to touch, to plant seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Where those who might not seek out those traditional supports, but she's going to bring light and laughter because she's funny. She can add a human nature. It's just...
Or during an interview even, like there's all these things happening in your life and she's like busting a gut at the same time, but she just, you know what I mean?
There's just and I think that personability, it's just, I almost see it as just kind of extending well beyond, like kind of like it just radiates, like her ability to touch one person just can radiate to help so many others. And I'm just so excited. But in order for that to happen, my girl needs to feel, she needs to be at that place in her life where she's feeling comfortable again, where she's feeling peace, where she's feeling laughter. Because she cannot take the pressure off her own bleed to help others until it's funny, like squirting blood.
Yeah,
like, I
get
can
that back
help
in.
you.
Yeah.
It's all in due time if she would just have patience.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. I appreciate you. Sorry, explaining that. Her last question she has here before I move on to some things I wrote down for her is she wants to know, is Grandma proud of me?
Oh, Grandma. That one's a hard one for her, eh?
Yeah. I can just feel it when we were talking in the interview. I was like, "Whoa, that is such a
and
yeah.
you've heard like loneliness. Grandma connected to her though, where nobody else did. Grandma seen her where nobody else did. And Grandma had like the cottage for a little girl who loved, attics and reading books and tree forts. It was like an oasis to her.
Yeah.
So everything Grandma represents was kind and loving and supported her heart and who she was. It kind of accepted her for who she was. Of course, Grandma's proud of her. She knows that too. She was the only one that Grandma got up to smile for when she was on her way out.
Yeah.
She knows all she is. And she's okay with it. I think Chantel's waiting for like the shoe to drop or something and then her fall apart.
Yeah.
She has closure. She's been reconciling with Grandma's death since ever.
Yeah.
And so Chantel was okay and she was ready and she had her goodbyes and it's gonna be okay. I think Chantel's just used to so much like the other shoe dropping and your heart crumbling to pieces and not being able to get off the floor.
Yeah, I got that vibe too. So,
No,
yeah.
she's gonna be okay.
Yeah, okay. Good. Does her grandma have any messages for her?
Just that she loves her and she's with her.
Yeah.
Chantel knows she's with her.
Yeah.
So
How can
and it creeps her out.
Yeah.
But it's also been having her there with her is going to be so incremental in the recovery moving forward.
Okay.
She feels the love and connection to something on this earth right now that she didn't before.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's going to be the energy that she needs.
Talking about Chantel needs.
Yeah. To stay forth in this direction.
Yeah. I was going to ask that, like, if it's appropriate for her to regularly connect with her grandmother.
She does, though.
Okay.
So she doesn't stop talking to Grandma.
Okay, awesome.
But she feels it, and I think that's what's most important with Chantel.
Yeah.
She feels in her heart her presence and that peace of mind. So I think that's going to be... She's not alone, right? Like,
yeah.
Girl, you're in her alone.
Yeah. And is there other ways for her to communicate with her grandma if she wants to have more of a dialogue in any way? Would that be appropriate?
No, their hearts connect.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm just going to have a look here. Things I wrote down: loneliness, deep-seated sadness, heavy heart, blameless, substance abuse, anger, feeling hurt. That's all. You covered that, I'm pretty sure. Explaining feeling mental health. Yeah, she said it was just scary, her emotions and how they kind of would be intense sometimes. And I think you nailed that. Brian, cut. What's next? Her purpose. You've done that. I wrote down remove the value of productivity. You've kind of already touched on it, but is there anything else you want to add regarding that?
No, just this, I get a vision of like putting up these boards, like when you're having a concert and everything looks like really cool and like behind it the boards will just fall over and it's like dead grass everywhere. That's what I feel like with her is her work ethic, all she's doing at work, everywhere she goes everything's looking the part, but there's nothing beyond that, right? So this will all work together,
right? Another thing that I wanted to ask you, sometimes clients have different reactions to having a quantum healing hypnosis session. Sometimes they're fine. Sometimes they feel like she felt flu-like after her Reiki session with me. Some people vomit. Some people pee a lot. Some people have this mental breakdown. She has a fear of like not being mom. Like she's got to be on. So can you tell Chantel how's she gonna feel in the next 3 days or so after her session here?
She'll be tired.
Okay.
But that's to be expected because I don't think she's ever not tired. But
yeah, but tired in what way? Can you explain to her why and in what way she'll be tired?
I feel drained, but I also feel like her body is going to be and mind are going to be putting together pieces slowly that I don't know that her human self is quite ready for. Right. So I think it's going to be a prolonged effect, only because she has so many barriers up. I wish I could say like you come out of this and everything just slides in and she reconciles and she feels great, but she's gonna try and like ego and examine this to death,
right?
And it's just not gonna be as natural, but she will get there.
Okay.
But I don't see anything just except for a period of being drained and tired,
right? That's
a little maybe a little uneasy feeling in the tummy, but
Right. She's trying to stomach things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's a lot, and it's not like she's being like, yeah, I'm an open slate, fix me, because
No.
it's gonna be like, whoa, let me
Exactly.
examine piece by piece.
Yeah, which is good. She knows herself best, and so do you, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hilarious. It's like, what do you have to lose? How is it working for you right
Yeah.
now? But whatever.
That's funny. Okay, so just wanted to make sure she can still be functional in her daily life, and because that was something she had mentioned to me, and something her I spoke about before, which obviously you know about, was momentum, right?
Yeah.
Just tap the brakes gentle, slowly turn the car
And
around,
that is
redirect.
it. Can you please tell her? Like, I don't know what she expects. Like, it's not like a one and done deal. Like,
Yeah,
everything just bit by bit. That's going to be her mantra for life moving forward.
yeah,
Like,
bit by
slow,
bit.
gracious healing.
Yeah,
Nobody's just comes flailing out of the
yeah.
gates.
Glacial healing is graceful healing. Yeah.
Yes, she just has this idea of like, okay,
Yeah.
now I'm good. No.
Well, I mean, it's a human nature. I'm the same. I can't say shit because I'm the same. Like, I'm
Oh.
like, oh man, I just want it to be instant. It's like, no, enjoy the
But then, like,
process.
it doesn't
Yeah.
happen in 2 days, and then she goes back to like normal bad
Yeah.
habits. It's like, oh well.
Yeah, the momentum. You gotta give this momentum time to shift. I
Yes.
think that really is sinking in with her. And
Well, I think after how long of it not working her way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's only up from here. Okay, so what else did I write down? Healthy life work balance, grandma. Oh yeah, she wanted to know about if she had a past life, how it applied to any future lives. We just showed her. I had an interesting session. So usually, well, I say usually because I'm a human and I have expectations, but I should drop those. Sessions don't go the way they did with her, but it was a beautiful session. Everything works out divinely, perfect. So she didn't visit a past life or experience. She visited this life and then kind of came in as herself, but not you, like not the high self, and then went back to some scenes of this life. Can you explain to her and I why the session was structured that way for her today? It was very interesting. It was very
Yeah.
cool.
So she's not capable
Mm-hmm.
of viewing things standard, obviously, in different situations
Mm-hmm.
through the eyes of her self alone. I don't know how to explain. She needed to be who she was in each of those moments.
Right, yeah. And so no past life was necessary
No.
today, yeah. And why was that? Just curious why just this life was visited. Sorry.
This is where the trauma is.
Right.
And it's so encompassing of her at this moment. Once she moves past this, perhaps
Mm-hmm.
we could look at it, but right now,
Yeah.
the trauma is too heavy in this life for us to spend time anywhere else.
Right, it wouldn't be appropriate
No.
to examine
And
anything
I
else.
would feel like I'm doing a dishonor to her
Mm-hmm.
to step anywhere outside of the grief
Yeah,
that it hurts my heart to even.
yeah,
She's just suffering so much right now.
yeah,
I can't play anywhere else.
yeah. No, that makes complete sense. Yeah, I just wanted to have an answer for her. And some physical things she said she experiences, and I've kind of noticed when I was doing Reiki and her breathing they call it the shudder, the cry breathing.
Yeah.
She's got asthma that started a few years ago as well. Can you explain one or both of those? I'm not sure if they're connected or not.
I can't.
No.
No, the breathing is her sadness. It's her sad cry
Yeah. Yeah.
when she does. And I think that's just, she hasn't walked through or pushed through. And I think as we've noticed, she's limped through this separation with Brian. She's so fixated on the past
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that that was where love was and where comfort was. And in that she hasn't experienced anything in the current to kind of say, hey, this is better.
Right.
She's almost ruminating and ruminating and ruminating, and I think it's now starting to manifest as those types of symptoms.
Right.
He's toxic and I need her to cut the cord.
Right.
And I don't know why she thinks she needs to have somebody so that she can learn that it's better. Like,
Right.
I just want her to have hope.
Yeah. Yeah. So as she takes these steps in her life, what's going to happen with her breathing pattern?
She's good. She's so much of it's the weight of the world on her, right? Like,
Yeah.
she's just carrying. So I see her chest opening up. Like, once she starts to truly not reap the rewards, but step into the life as it's made for her, she's going to feel so much weight lifted. She's going to be able to take deep breaths. She's in like a survival breathing right now, you know, like just do, and like,
Yeah.
it's just.
Yeah. Okay. And then the asthma started 5 years ago. She said she's never had breathing problems before. I asked her, okay, what was going on in your life that time? Because usually things start to come through.
Well, and I think this is just manifesting as I just picture like she's had all these things placed on her in terms of weights on her back, and then her job is tenfold more stressful than the one she had before. And so what I feel like I'm having is like she's starting to like lean forward and crumble over the weight of her life, and it's making it difficult for her to take those deep breaths.
Right.
I don't have any insight as to, except for that I see so much of this being fixed when we start to live the life that we're supposed to be living.
Right, and then it'll kind of take that weight off, and she can breathe.
And she needs to stand and like just picture like, gosh, that girl.
Could you show her, because right now, like how to breathe deep and proper to kind of help her get into like that flow state? I know the power of the breath is very deep.
And I want her arms back. Deep breath, but she's just so head down busy, like do go it's just, and she needs to, and this is all going to be stuff and tools she can work on as part of living healthy, living in a state of not in like response or trauma.
Oh, this is exciting.
Shouldn't make me laugh, but it does.
You and her both have great senses of humor. Okay, so after her session, when should she listen to her recording? When would be a good time post-session for her to...
She needs to give it at least 24 hours.
Okay. And then
she's probably going to take longer, though, because she's really scared.
Right.
Of any... Just because I think she feels so vulnerable right now. And so anything that might cause strain on her heart or her mind, she's just careful because she knows she's in a very... I guess vulnerable state, and I think she's really nervous about that.
Yeah. Is there anything she should be nervous about in listening to it?
No, girl knows herself.
Yeah. This is only her.
She knows herself. She doesn't know why or how, and has tried to work through that.
Yeah. Okay. Would it be appropriate for me to share some of the recording with her when we debrief, or just leave it? What do you recommend?
I think she's going to need some time.
Okay. Yeah.
I just don't want to, and I just know her, and the guards are going to come back up.
Yep.
And then she's just, I can't say this enough, she's in a truly vulnerable state in terms of like her drive and her willingness to continue to show up, I think.
Yeah.
So I just want everyone to be very delicate with her.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I want to ask, make sure I'm doing what's going to serve her highs. I know what my ego thinks is going to be good for her.
Because she can be brave and look strong, but girl is just, she does not want to get out of bed anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm glad she got out of bed and came in late in this bed.
Yes. Well, you're amazing, and you know how much you're loved.
Yeah, I can feel the love, and I deeply appreciate it. I'm very happy and very blessed and honored to hold space here with you today.
Thank you.
And how often, once she listens to a recording, how often should she listen to it after that?
Well, it's funny that you think that whatever we say she's going to listen to.
Well, yeah, but it's what you think. You're right.
She does her own thing.
That's fair. So say something, maybe she'll do the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
She's going to think she knows better than all of us.
That's funny.
I think she's going to know. It's going to be used as part of her healing.
Yeah.
But she needs to continue to go back to it. I don't think I can put like a date stamp on it. Only because she's so in tuned to her healing and but she's also learning from you how to be able to sit in it. Where before it was like, this is a bad feeling, push. Where like, you're not going to die if you have to breathe through some uncomfortable feelings.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Okay. And then she's also on medications, sertraline for anxiety and depression.
Yeah. She's reached out, though, to her doctor to have an actual more formal I guess, review of all of these types of mental health symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think she knows there's stuff happening
Mm-hmm.
in terms of, and I think she is now beginning to associate it a lot with the trauma and with the trauma trapped in her body with
Yeah.
I think she's starting to see the connection, thankfully, through you,
Yeah.
that some of this is manifesting as physical ailments.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And do you recommend she continues to take that or stop it, or what is your...
I think this is a cart before the horse. I
Yeah.
think she stays on it until we deal with all of the work we have to do.
Yeah. Well, it's part of the fun.
Yeah,
Yay.
exactly.
Okay.
And then and only then do I think she could step out in complete freedom without that. And I just don't
Yeah.
want to see.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. I also wrote down some numbers in my book. I noticed on the recording at 55:55, you gave her some information, and at 1 hour and 11 minutes, you gave her some information. I just wanted to ask, out of curiosity, was that on purpose or
No.
no? Oh, okay. I thought that was very interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah. And at 2 hours, it was 1 minute and 22 seconds again. Or maybe it's just me. I just look, it could be my, whatever, someone else communicating with me. But I thought that was very interesting that those numbers were coming up when you were giving certain information. And I don't know why my mind gravitated to that. So I don't know if that's meant for Chantel or not, but I'll put it on here. It's on her recording so she can take
have a
that
look
or
at it.
leave it. Yeah. Little tasty morsels for her to pick, a little piece of candy, lead her to the path. I don't have any more questions from her. I can't think of any from me. Is there anything that you would like to address or wish that I had asked during her session today?
No, it's just so important.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm worried about her.
Yeah, well, and fair enough. Do you recommend, I feel weird like asking this because I don't want anyone to feel under the influence. I want this on the recording that I in no way want people to feel they have to come back to me for anything. Like I want her to step into her power.
She's going to come to you for
okay, but
anyway.
do you recommend she comes back for something? And if so, is there anything in particular that resonates more deeply with her that you feel she'll benefit from, that will help her on her journey? And I also have friends that are energy workers as well, so I'm definitely happy to refer her to different modalities if you can.
I think I would trust in your experience, whatever she needs to continue.
Mm-hmm.
She's blocked off so many parts, feelings, experiences that are not available.
Yeah.
She won't even access them.
Right. Okay.
So I would trust that hopefully through conversations, because they have to get out of here. Like we have to.
Yeah.
But she won't even touch them.
Right.
And some of them I don't even know if she's aware of.
Right.
But she's left them there. And so the more, I guess I feel like whatever tools you have where we can come, it's kind of reminds me of spring cleaning. All right, we'll do the covers and then next time we'll do
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And I told her, I kind of see it as like something's under pressure, you slowly let little steam.
Exactly.
Little steam. And that's what, I mean, I think we all want for her. So whatever is the best way that resonates with her, that's what I want her to have access to.
Yeah,
and
you're going to know based on, I guess, those conversations what the best method or recommend. She's not going to stop talking to you anyway.
Good.
She's going to vent.
Yeah, I enjoy her, yeah.
So, but it's going to be, oh, look, we found this. And this hasn't been touched for 25 years. So how do we do that?
Let's let that steam out. Or
let's clean
that covered out. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. That's wonderful. Anything else you'd like to say to Chantel before I guess I say kind of goodbye?
No, I want to thank you for helping my girl.
Gladly.
I'm just along for the ride, and it's hard. You get frustrated because I can see the greatness that's just about to, come, and she's so close to the place of giving up, and it's so hard when those are so close, right? But
I'm rooting for both of you, and I feel like this is a very pivotal moment in the best way in her life, and I'm very grateful that you brought her here for this. I think this is amazing that she's able to literally hear from you, which is her, how to access her information, heal herself, and it's not from me, it's from her or you. I think that's just beautiful.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. Give her a hug.
I will. All right. And all right. I don't want to say goodbye to you.